Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Deckin Around. My name is Tyler.
I am Steve.
And today we are so excited to welcome Sean to the show. We are going to be having an amazing show talking magic, cards, everything under the sun, pretty much. For those of you who don't know Sean, he is very involved with the Orbit brand. He's an amazing videographer. He was just on Ryan Trahan's IG talent show where he performed some mind-blowing magic.
So, he should have won. He should have won. That was BS.
Absolutely should have won, but I think he had some good collabs come out of it. But before we get into it, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell so you make sure you don't miss future episodes. Also, before we go into it too far, make sure to stick around to the end of the show. We're going to be showing off our new Deckin Around branding that'll be going live on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and pretty much everything else within the next couple of days. So stick around to check that out. And without further ado, here is Sean.
Shauno!
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, Sean? How you doing today, man?
I'm hanging out. I'm actually a little sweaty. What I was doing before this, I was teaching martial arts.
Oh wow!
Via Zoom. Yeah, that's a whole can of worms. But
so wait. Hold on a sec. What martial art do you teach?
So it's called Subak-do. It's very similar to Taekwondo. It's a Korean art. I've been doing it literally since I was 3 years old. My mom is my instructor. She and we run a studio just across the river in Camas, Washington from me. So I've been doing it literally my whole life, and I can't imagine what it's like to do not that. You know what I mean? So
a lot of kicks.
A lot of kicking. Yeah, I'm very sore right now. So
I'm gonna tell you too. We're not even 2 minutes into the show, and you've already blown my mind because I feel like I've been telling everyone I'm like Sean is such a multifaceted guy, and then all of a sudden you come out with this within 2 minutes. I'm like, wow.
My forehead's a little shiny. I just wanted to clear that up real quick.
No, don't lie. You're nervous. I understand.
I'm very nervous.
Being on the show with two guys like us, you're nervous. I get it.
I mean, I'm shaking. So
I mean, you know what though? Born and raised West Coast versus two guys born on the East Coast. You know, there could be some contention here, but I think it'll be a good show either way.
Me too.
So one of these days we'll have to spar.
Oh that would be my honor. My goodness.
That'd be cool.
We will live stream this also.
Two totally different styles.
Yeah. What do you practice?
Jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, that is very different.
Yes. That's the complete opposite.
Yes.
That is
right on.
That should be an interesting one. So Sean, how are you doing otherwise? How's everything going with quarantine? With obviously you said you moved to Zoom for your classes. Yeah. How's life in general treating you over the internet?
Gosh, man, I gotta say it's been awesome. I'm kind of stepping into this new phase of my life without getting too deep. The quarantine's a whole other thing, but like I'm getting into this part of who I am where I'm very, very satisfied with where I am and with cards and with the martial arts and everything and my relationships that I have with people. It just feels really good. So nice, I'm very, very thankful for a lot of things right now. But yeah, the quarantine's interesting. We're like 2.5 months in or so, depending on where you are. And it's I'm definitely feeling it. My whole team is working from home for the company I work for, and we're all just we're on our last leg. It feels like.
Yeah, I think everybody's at that point, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long 2-3 months there. I think everyone's excited for Memorial Day this weekend if you're in the States and getting that time off. But it's an interesting grind for sure. So, and you do videography for Portland Gear, correct?
I do, yeah. So I work for this brand outside of Orbit. I don't know how many people know or care, but I work for this brand called Portland Gear, which I'm actually, the only clothes I own now are Portland Gear, but I'll see if I can show you here. It's a P with like the state of Oregon. This is a bad shirt example, but it's a P with, our logo is the P with the shape of Oregon in it.
Okay. And, dope. That's really cool.
Yeah. So I've known this brand and I've been around this brand since like 2014. I used to perform at this open air market with my friend Caleb in downtown Portland, and it's called the Saturday Market, and it's a big tourist attraction. If you're visiting the city from between March and December, you're gonna go there.
Nice.
It's just a bunch of local vendors, food, crafts, everything. But Caleb and I, a good friend of mine, we would do a whole street act. We had this street magic act called The World's Most Dangerous Card Trick in the World. It was a juggling comedy magic act.
Nice.
It was pretty cool. But on our lunch breaks, between shows and everything, we'd go and get food at the market. And I was walking around one day, and I happened upon this tent, this just normal looking white tent. There was two guys under it, who are not my bosses, but they were selling just two shirts. It was not this one. It was just a simplified, just a P logo here, and it said something on the back, and the other one was another logo we use. And
Nice.
immediately I was like, well, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen, because it's P. Everyone goes through this when they see our logo. It's a P with Oregon, and I was like, oh, that's a cool looking. Oh, there's the shape of Oregon in it. So I started talking to them, and they're like, what are you doing here? And I was telling them about magic and everything, and I showed them some magic, and I think that's how they remembered me. So they ended up opening their first brick and mortar shop in 2016. And I was there. I wasn't hired to do magic there, but Marcus was like, come on down and do magic for people, because there's a line around the block. So I just did busking there. And
Nice.
I've always stuck around them and the people with Portland gear. And fortunately enough, the day after I graduated last June, Marcus hit me up and was like, hey, can you come in today? And I was like, wait, sure, yeah. And I go into the shop, and they're like, do you want to work here? And I was like,
That's awesome.
I guess. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, I do videography, and I kind of dip my toes and fingers and limbs into a lot of things at Portland Gear, because it's such a small team, which is awesome. But I do advertising and video content, a lot of social media planning as well for them. Great brand, but they're awesome. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's really fun. Yeah, I always see you wearing the Portland gear. That the sweatshirt you had on the other day, the one that said Portland down it, was kind of cool.
Yeah. We love to. Our whole thing is we want to make clothes, to give people that thing that they can wear, that they can express their pride in Portland in, right? Like, be proud of your city. New York's got the Yankees hat, LA's got the Dodgers hat, or the LA Lakers or whatever. We didn't really have a symbol in Portland that could immediately be recognized as something, that's the symbol from that place. So Marcus, my boss, came up with that P logo, and it says everything and very little at the same time. So it's my favorite brand.
Sweet. That's rad.
It's awesome.
What you work there full time?
Full time.
Nice.
That's cool. And do you do a lot of magic with them still, or?
So kind of, yeah. That's obviously how they remember me and know me, is I'm just the brown kid that did magic at the market that one time. But yeah, so I started in the shop, actually. Everyone starts in the retail shop just doing customer service stuff, which is honestly not as bad as I thought it would be, because I really like talking to people, and I like meeting new people and making new friends and everything. And a lot of times when it was slow, I would have a deck of cards, and a lot of times I didn't even have to ask if anyone wanted to see magic. They would just be like, are you a magician? And I'd be like, do I look that lonely? And I would just end up, So we're all about giving tourists and locals alike just a different experience. A lot of the reviews people give us are like, the staff is really friendly, and we really want to be, because we want to be that. If you're visiting Portland, we want to be that moment that you remember, that really cool hip Portland shop that you went into. Everyone was just wanted to be a friend. Yeah,
that's super cool.
Well, we'll definitely have to check it out if we're ever in Portland.
Oh my gosh, please let me know when you're in town. I'll hook you up.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be dope.
I'm hoping to be in town next year if things go well, just because my girlfriend has a lot of friends who live out in Portland and love the area, and a few of them just bought a house out there, so we're planning on visiting. But again, things always shift with everything going on right now, so we'll see how it goes.
Let me know if you guys are ever out here. It's literally my favorite city.
Absolutely,
sure.
Man. No, we'll definitely let you know.
Where are you originally from?
Born and raised here. Never moved. Well, technically, I'm from a suburb, literally like 15 minutes outside of downtown proper. But I'm born and raised Oregonian, which is hard to come by these days. A lot of Portlanders like to get up in arms about like, all the Californians, all the transplants are moving here. And like, that's just something to complain about. And it's trendy to say, to get mad at if you're like a native.
Yeah.
I don't do it. It's okay. Whatever. Come here. It's creating jobs. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people with anything, they just want to have their own thing. They want it's their thing. They don't want anybody taking it from them, even though people moving from California are not taking it. They're just joining the tribe, I guess you can say. But it's like, everybody wants their own thing. It's like, it is what it is, right?
Totally, yeah. No, but I've never moved. I've never moved states. The only I've moved twice in my life. The first time I grew up in the same house for 18 years, and then I moved 10 minutes away to college. And then from there I moved another 5 minutes away to here, and I've been here for a year. So like I've never moved states, and I don't think I ever will.
Nice. That's
That's
cool.
good, though. Takes some people a lifetime to find a place that they want to stay, so that's amazing.
Yeah,
Portland's a dope spot. I really dig Portland.
There's a lot to do here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on tour there with with a few musicians, and it's a really cool spot.
What's your like favorite thing from the city that you remember doing, if you had the time to do anything?
I mean, I was on tour, so we would just like walk downtown.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, the venues are just cool.
Yeah.
Just, that's pretty much where I spend my time is the venues. And
Cardist this past year in 2019.
I didn't get to go because I literally just got into cards like right before that.
Wow.
So I wasn't even into cards really then. And I was like, what the hell is Cardist?
Yeah, totally. Well, it was in the Crystal Ballroom, which I'm sure you've been to. It's a historic,
it's a dope venue.
It's a historic spot. Yeah. Schoolboy Q, the rapper, was there in 2013 and had to get the show shut down because the floor is bouncy. But they literally broke the floor, and it became an insane hazard. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Do you know Michael Franti?
Michael Franti. I think you mentioned this to me. I'm not.
Yeah, I feel like we had this conversation.
Yeah,
we're
going back in time.
Yeah, he's played there a bunch.
Yeah. Very cool.
Heck yeah, that's cool.
Great.
Let's see. There's Matt Fox is on here.
Oh my gosh, my boy Matt. What's up, Matt?
Thanks for coming in. Lee, what's up? Everyone's saying hello.
Hi everybody.
We got some good crews here coming in. So
we actually have a question. We'll go to Hugo's question in a minute.
Cool.
Let's get a little more story out of this first.
Sure, yeah.
I was mentioning to you the other day that I've followed your page, and a lot of the stuff that I see on your page is all cardistry stuff.
Yes.
That's just since I've come into the game, so to speak. It's pretty much all I've seen you do. Uh-huh. And then I saw you on the Tran competition, and you actually did magic. And at first I was like, he's gonna do cardistry in the competition.
I know, yeah.
And I was like, I mean, it's cool, but and then I saw you doing magic, and I was like, oh, cool. So I had no. Are we past 10 minutes?
Yeah, we're good.
Cool. I had no fucking idea that you did magic. So I thought it was really cool, and just it's interesting what we don't know about people. Yeah. So you obviously started doing magic way back whenever.
Yeah. I'd argue that I'm better at magic than I am at cardistry, and that's probably not saying much. I don't know if you've seen kids do cardistry these days, but geez,
some of it's intense, really intense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just I thought I was good 5 years ago, and then after that, I'm like, maybe I'll just hang, But yeah, I've been doing magic for as long as I can remember. I was 8 when I got into it. My dad, showed me just a dad card trick. I feel like all dads have to know a card trick to pass the dad test.
27 cards.
Yeah, right. Yeah, literally that one. He showed me this other one where, well, it doesn't matter. It was a card trick, and I was an only child growing up. Still am, I guess. And I didn't have much else going on. A lot of my friends had hobbies like stamp collecting or friendship, and I chose magic. So. I was hooked after I saw that one moment of impossibility when I was a kid. And that year for my birthday, my dad got me my parents got me a magic book, and I read it cover to cover immediately. And then I had my first paying gig as a 8-year-old, or I guess I was 9 at the time. I made $40 doing a half an hour set for a 3-year-old's birthday. So neither I nor the kids knew what was going on. Yeah, it was awesome. It was great. It was my mom's coworker's son's birthday. And I remember practicing for weeks and weeks doing, I think I closed with the SpongeBall routine, the SpongeBall routine.
Yeah.
And I just uploaded a picture on my Instagram of me doing the paddle move.
I saw the picture, yeah.
Yeah, with a plastic butter knife.
Nice.
There you go.
But I remember that performance distinctly. Mostly because it was around a bunch of infants, and I was like, "What the hell am I doing here?" but also because I made $40 and I thought, hey, I can just get money from doing this, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I love doing it. Yeah, so I kept doing magic and reading books and watching YouTube. And my dad actually got me into YouTube. First of all, both my parents
like a cool dad.
Yeah, he's awesome. Well, both my parents are freaking sick. But so both my parents work in IT, and so at any given moment, this is not an exaggeration. At any given moment around my parents' house, there's 10 working computers. So I got my first PC when I was like 5 or 6. I remember the internet before YouTube because there was a site called Google Clips, and I would just search magic or like card tricks on there. And then this thing YouTube came out, and my dad helped me start my first ever channel, which was called Pick a Card, Any Card. And he helped me shoot with a home video recorder, and we actually took a lamp and just turned it on its side so it would shine at me.
Hold on. Can we still see these videos?
No, because I don't know what I did with them.
Come on, dude.
I know. I swear to God, I wish I had these videos, because I remember what happened was my dad taught me how to edit and shoot and everything, and then I started doing it by myself, and I kept uploading to this channel. And I remember the day I hit 1,000 followers or subscribers, and I told my parents, and they didn't know really what to make of that. And I was like, I'm a celebrity. Be proud. That's 1,000 people that like me. And but I swear to God, I remember deleting videos because I was embarrassed. I was like, oh wow, because I had this channel for years and years. Yeah. I didn't even think about the future. I didn't, think that I'd want to look back at this. So it's gone. Yeah, I don't know. All those videos are gone. I keep hoping that my parents, because they were tech wizards, when I was asleep, I keep hoping they made backups or something. And then in their will,
you got to ask them. And
I've been asking them. I know. Well, I'm not. I'm. In their will, I feel like they're going to be like, check under your pillow in your house. And it's going to be like a big hard drive of all my
best magic trick.
Right. Yeah. The ultimate trick. Anyway, so that's also how I got into videography and editing and stuff.
That's cool. What made you transition into cardistry in that world?
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're very obviously complementary of each other, but what directed you down that road of cardistry? Because it's definitely totally different, right?
Oh,
There's
100%.
really, I mean, the reactions to cardistry and magic is two totally different things.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was just on YouTube. I lived on YouTube. That was my only thing. I realized that you can make friends on the internet, which, going back to before, only child. So it's way easier to do friendship on the internet. So I started making, back when you could direct message on YouTube.
Yeah.
Almost. I'm a little above
a little bit on that.
Yeah.
MySpace. It's MySpace.
That rings a bell. No, I spent all my time on YouTube, and I ended up starting the channel that I have now, which is Punchwater. I couldn't tell you why I chose that name, but I still was making videos and tutorials on magic. And then I saw a Tobias Levin video, just a really early video of him in 2010. I couldn't tell you what video it is. But I was like, wait, where's the trick? Where's the double lift? And he just was doing packet cuts. And I was like, well, that looks magical. That looks impossible, but why is he not doing any double undercuts or controls? You know what I mean? Right, so I was like, well, geez, that's just card flourishing. Because I knew about, fans and false cuts and doing multi-packet cuts, but never did I ever think that you could just make a video showing different cuts or different false cuts or just springs or just single card moves. So it really intrigued me. I was like, well, I want to learn that. That looks so smooth and so satisfying to watch. So I typed in card flourish tutorials, and I learned the false packet cut or whatever. And then Dan and Dave popped up in my searches, and they were the first people to do a double lift like this. I was doing my double lifts like this forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A kid. They did it like this, and I'm like, well, that has to be one card, because how are you supposed to move two cards like that? Right. So I was introduced to this idea of this incredible smoothness with a deck, and from there I got Tricks and Flourishes and everything else, the DVD set for Christmas by them. Nice. And they had this DVD called Flourishes, and that was like right on the cusp of calling it cardistry. And I learned I tried to learn a couple of those. My hands were too small at the time, but all of a sudden, I kept throwing myself into YouTube, and more videos kept popping up of these crazy European kids doing cardistry. And I was like, well, I just want to do that. So I began doing that and putting more time into that. And I realized it's way more fun to edit a cardistry video than it is to do a magic tutorial. Because you can
sure. Yeah, it's funny because there's definitely difference. I think magic is better for in person, right?
Sure.
Like,
yeah,
I feel like if you're doing cardistry and you're doing all this stuff, people are like, oh, that's cool. But after, this is just me maybe, after because most people can't do ridiculous things that might hold attention for that long. But I think once you do, 5-10 minutes, people are going to be like, oh, cool, and walk away. But if you're like doing different trick after different trick, people are going to be like, oh, wow, it's more captivating for people, and they're used to seeing it. If they see like somebody playing with cards, they might be like, what the hell are they doing?
Exactly. Well, the thing I like to think about is that, this isn't anything groundbreaking, but like cardistry is immediately cool, right?
Yeah.
With magic, you at least have to wait a whole 15 seconds to see the trick, right? Even if it's just a double lift, you have to say, okay, I'm going to watch this idiot with cards. I'm going to choose to spend my time watching this guy. Yeah. And then maybe something's going to happen. But with cardistry, you look at a guy doing a pack-a-cut and you go, I know how cards work. I've held cards before, and that's not easy. That's immediately cool to me.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean that's why you put both of them together. Then you're in business, right?
Yeah, that's business, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sure. Matt Fox said, "Punch water forever."
Punch water forever. Yeah, that guy's got all my videos downloaded. He downloads every cardistry video that ever happens, and he and a couple other people have this insane archive. I've heard.
That's cool.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Yeah, I actually downloaded some videos from a couple people's channels that I enjoy watching, like their whole library. It's you just plug it in and it just runs until they're all done. So it's pretty cool just to hold on to it in case they delete stuff.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, cool.
So kind of evolving again. I feel like we're taking a very progressive and linear look at your life and progression through magic to cardistry, which I have to say on the magic side, when you posted the picture of you doing the show when you were younger and it said the great Sean Dini, I was like, perfect. That rings perfectly, fits great. And that was right after the whole Instagram talent show, which I definitely want to touch on at some point.
Please.
I think, just from a linear point of view, a lot of people know you for your interaction and your work on the Orbits brand. How did you and Chris Brown, Orbit Brown, whatever you may know him by, how did you guys get involved?
Gosh, that's a good story. It's awesome, actually. It's one of my favorite stories. So growing up, again, lived on YouTube. Every friend I had was on the internet, so that's where I was all the time.
I get you, man. It's all right.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Sean, when we meet in person, man, I'm just gonna give you a hug, bro.
That's all I want. That's literally all I want. I was gonna do it without saying. So.
Every single conversation stops basically friends over the internet. So just telling me, it just sounds like you were just always alone,
Oh yeah. Well, that's how I was being all child. But
everybody who's listening, this might be a little creepy, but if you meet Sean in person, give him a hug.
Just bring it in. Well, unless COVID's still happening, in which case, honestly, I'm willing to risk it. I've spent so many years alone. Anyway, so always on YouTube. And I came across this channel called the Orbit Brown, and I was like, what the heck is this video called? Arthritis Onslaught 2. And I was like, what? So I watched it, and it was just a longer form video of just slides. And, a little bit of cardistry here and there or whatever. But that wasn't cardistry at the time. So I was like, dang, this guy's cool. He's got a shaved head and wears sunglasses all the time. and he records on a Canon Vixia camcorder. I want to be like him. So I immediately became a big fan of this guy. He was doing impossible stuff with cards. And his videos were so clean. He had this insane look that it wasn't just a camera on a tripod. He either got his friends to film or had some sort of rolling contraption that he would put his camera on. And his videos were so addicting because they were always set to the craziest music. And I think I probably attribute a lot of my love of hip hop to him because he would always use rap music or whatever. And I would just binge these videos over and over. literally, until, well, I still do, but up until 2015 was kind of a pivotal year. It was the year I graduated high school, and I was kind of, I was putting a lot into YouTube, and I had, my YouTube channel was kind of doing the exponential curve thing, and that was the trajectory I had. I became friends with Nick Stumphauser, who is now my coworker, in about 2012, 2013 on YouTube because of the direct messaging thing.
Right.
And so we got to talk, and I couldn't tell you why or how or like who reached out first or whatever, but I knew he was another film kid like me because he had a DSLR and his videos looked great, and I knew my videos looked pretty good, so I wanted to be friends with him. So we started talking, and we began Skyping, and he was the first ever guy I Skyped for cards.
Nice.
And I remember one of the first or second time we talked for like 8 hours. It was a Saturday or something, and it was like we started at like 2 p.m. and I didn't close my laptop until it was 10, and I was like, where the hell am I? Because it's all dark now.
That's awesome.
And, and it was my first experience of like, oh my God, I like this guy so much. He's like,
that's cool.
I feel like he's my best friend already, and we are best friends. Anyway, so we would talk every day. We'd start texting. We'd tell it. We got really, really close. We're very close now. And it was actually 2015, summer of 2015. I was going to be in Boston.
Nice.
It's for a martial. Oh, there you go. Hey, I was going to be there for a martial arts competition, and I did a little quick math in my head, and I go, well, shoot, Michigan, where Nick was at the time. I go, Michigan's way closer to Boston than Portland is to Michigan. So I go, hey, Nick, what are you doing in July? And he's like, well, nothing. It's July. And and I go, well, you want to hang out? And he's like, yeah, we Skype every day. And I go, no, I want to come over. And he's like, what? So my mom and his mom did the thing where they get on the phone because we're still minors.
Yeah.
they my mom's like, are you going to kill my son? Like, are you who you say you are? And they're like, yeah, of course. So I went to Boston, did the martial arts thing, and then booked a flight from Boston to Michigan by myself. My mom flew home on her own, and this is the first time I flew by myself. Before this, I mean, it's COVID now, but I think every year I take like 10 flights. I'm always traveling just because it's cards now and martial arts mostly, but I love traveling. It's my favorite thing. So this is the first ever time I flew without my mom. And it was pretty scary because flying from Boston to Michigan, the flight had to reroute because of a terrible thunderstorm that was happening over Detroit at the time. So we landed in Cleveland, and it's 3 a.m. and I'm like, well, I'm never going to get there. This is probably how I'm going to die. Long and short of it is I ended up there, and I stayed there for 11 days. And I remember having a conversation with Nick in Michigan where I was like, yo, have you heard of this guy, Orbit Brown? And Nick goes, that is literally my favorite guy on YouTube. And I'm like, no kidding, me too. So we connected over that. And then I got to college, and my freshman year, I get a message from Chris Brown. And I go, no way, the frequent T-Pain collaborators messaging me. Turns out it was just normal Chris. And he goes, hey man, and before this, in my youthful years,
was that pre-woman beta or?
This is post, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it wasn't the felon that was contacting me. It was just like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm in college, and I get this message on Facebook from Chris Brown, and I go, oh my gosh, Chris Brown, my idol, is messaging me. And he goes, hey man, I'm sorry for not responding to all these messages. Because before that, back in like literally middle school, I was like, I found him on Facebook, and I'm like, I'm your biggest fan. Like, I love your videos. I watch them every day. And he's like, I'm so sorry for not, responding to these. Let me send you a few decks. And I'm like, okay, how much? And he goes, for free. And I'm like, what? So this is my first ever time I got decks sent to me in the mail. And we built a relationship from there. And then somehow me, Nick, and Chris all ended up in a group chat on Facebook. Somehow. I don't know how. And we're all just, and this is early 2017. And so we're all hanging out. We're all buds. It's crazy because Nick and I are like he's the guy. And here we are in a group chat.
That's cool.
And then Cardist in LA happened. And he was like, are you guys going? And I'm like, for sure. And
We
Nick
are
was like,
now.
yeah, well, yeah. So Chris was like, well, why don't we all stay together? And I was like, what? Crazy. So he literally bought us a penthouse suite in the DoubleTree, and we all,
Damn.
yeah, it was crazy. So, and that was the first time meeting Chris Orbit Brown, and it was like meeting a celebrity because I grew up watching
History in the making.
Exactly. Yeah, and I had obviously his brand Orbit was around, and I love the cards. I have them all, the original. I mean, I have them all now, but at the time I bought all of the ones that were coming out, and then later that year in December, I was down in Sacramento for I got family down there. We were down there for Christmas, and I knew Chris was in the Bay, and so we usually take a trip to San Francisco just from there, just because San Francisco is a big city with Hiddleston. You got to visit it. So I was there, and I'm like, "You want to meet up?"
I'm like a half hour from San Fran.
Oh, cool, very cool. Yeah. So we met up, and Chris and I were hanging out, and we're sitting somewhere on the Pier 39, and Chris goes, "Hey, you know Nick?" And I'm like, "You mean my number one best friend that we're all in a group chat together with?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to hire him to be a part of. I want to build an Orbit team." And I'm like, "Well, why are you telling me that? Like, hire me." So I literally said, "Oh, that's cool. If you guys need any, help with content, this is sort of what I do." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I'll hire you too." And I was like, "Friggin', there you go." And this was the first time. This was kind of like another one of those moments when I realized that you could, if you align or I guess for lack of a better term, play your cards right.
Yeah.
You can really monetize this, no matter your skill level. Really, it's. I'll get to that later. Anyway, he was like, "I'll pay you to post," and I'm like, "Well, no kidding." So from then on, I'm working for Orbit, and it's just been up and up from there.
That's cool.
Yeah,
It's a cool brand really cool brand to work for. I highly respect Chris and his way of being, and just he's super positive. He just wants everybody to use his cards, and not a lot of those hype brands do that. They want to be exclusive and have these small drops and stuff like that.
That's one of our things too. It's as much as we'd like to be considered a hype brand. I mean, there's hype around us for sure, but comparatively, it's not a whole lot, and that's fine because we're doing great as a brand. Yeah. We make 23,000 units,
right?
Because we literally want the entire world to have it, and we can still sell out. We do, which is great. But
version 5 just sold out, and version 6 is almost sold out.
Yeah, and we have. We're getting close on the 7s to be selling out too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Chris, his heart posture is that, playing cards have taken him around the world and has connected him to, because he's been doing it way longer than YouTube. His YouTube goes back to 2006 or whatever. But yeah, of course,
crazy.
That guy's like 60 years old, so he's been doing it forever. So yeah, he literally wants to give everyone that experience that playing cards gave him, and I'm the same way. Great. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now I have a question.
Please.
This actually can segue into, the question that we got a little while ago. Actually, I'll ask this question first from Hugo. That way I don't have to sit up on it. What's your favorite deck other than Orbits?
Wow. God. Well, there's so many decks now. You know what I mean?
I know. There are a lot of decks out there now.
God, that's crazy. My favorite brand outside of Orbit is Dealer's Grip. I've held fast to that since Dealer's Grip. I had Tobias, and I love Oliver and their design. I mean, the designs on that deck is honestly one of the most progressive that I've seen that I consider progressive. So definitely any deck from them. If I had to choose one, the ambient ones are great, but I couldn't get my hands on those. And then the Sepal cards.
Sepal,
yeah, Sepal.
Sepal. I don't know how to say it. Sepal, Sepal.
Yeah, but no, I mean, Dealer's Grip really hit it right on the head there with progressive designs and stuff. Not even progressive, really. Maybe that's the wrong word. I'd say engaging. It really makes you stop and stare. I really think that they capture the the essence of what it's like to look at a piece of art and not know why you love it so much. Like you may not know about colors or composition or anything, but there's something intangible that you can't quite express why you love it. So I really think that's me. What about you guys?
You go first, Tyler.
So honestly, this is probably more than anything because I play with it all the time. I have a few that I definitely like, but the one that sits next to my desk all day is the Midnight Blue Joker and the Thief. So
cool.
It's literally, I sit around and play with it all day while I'm in meetings, when I'm on calls. And I mean, this deck's maybe only like a month and a half old, and it's already like wearing through the ink on the side.
Sweet.
But I think it handles great for what it is. It's a nicely done deck. It's got some really authentic art to it, which I really like that line drawing style. I'm also super excited to see what James comes out with for the next deck. So
yes. So are those is that the version that's printed by Expert, or is that the USPCC?
So this is the USPCC one, yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, cool. Yeah, those cards are great. Very, very classic.
Yeah, they've got a good look to them. I mean, the whole series is phenomenal, but that's probably my go-to deck. And I like the fact too, I have to say, like from a brand point of view, that when they have an overrun and they don't have enough tucks, he sells the white tucks for like $5. You can go get a nicely done deck that handles great for a reasonable price that's got great art on it. So I pick up usually like a handful of the actual like fully done up ones, and then a handful of the white tucks to play with all day. So
James is awesome. James is great.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I obviously I have card decks like coming in and out like all the time. But like if I had to choose like one really go-to deck, it would have to be the Monarchs. Either that or like the Nox. I think and those aren't for like crazy designs, but like simple, classy looking decks. I think those two brands are good. Other than that, I love what Paperwave is doing with their decks.
Oh yeah, totally.
They're kind of, I think they're similar to like your Dealer's Grip line, but yeah, I love Paperwave. I think they're really dope.
They're awesome. Yeah, Lorenzo is a great guy too. I didn't know. I was in New York in 2018 in the summer with John Stessel, and I wandered into Tannins, as you do when you're in New York, and this kid Lorenzo was behind the counter, and I think I followed Paperwave, or like I knew about Paperwave playing cards, and I didn't know it was Lorenzo. And Lorenzo's like, "Hey, try this deck," and I'm like, "Oh, it's Paperwave, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, they're mine." And I'm like, "Oh." The moment happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things I love about this community too, though, like the ease with which you can just bump into people who I think a lot of people think are big names in the community and have like a big persona in the community. And you just walk into Tannins and there he is. Like,
that was awesome.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So I think one of the questions that I actually had that I really wanted to, and this is one of my questions, not one of the audience questions yet, but like I think to tie into the we were talking about earlier, the Instagram talent show. I think one of the cool things about that is, in spite of not winning, you already came out with a collaboration with someone who was also in the talent show. So obviously in your own way there, you won and you spun it into a positive, which is awesome. And I think that's something you do frequently, is try and find the positive and spin it to your benefit there. So what was that experience like, really? How did you get involved in the talent show in the first place? Yeah. And then what was really just the whole experience like?
Oh, it was awesome, man. I wouldn't trade it for anything. That was one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. So I've been following Ryan Trahan for 3 years. YouTube guy here. So
yeah, makes sense.
I came across one of his videos. He was just doing one of those things that he does. I mean, have you guys watched his videos at all?
Yeah, I watched a couple of them. Yeah, more so once he came out with, like, when I saw you were on the talent show, I was like, all right, I'm gonna check this guy out a little bit more and see what he's about. But yeah, he's got some really good videos. What was the one I was watching? I was watching one of them the other day. I can't remember what it is for the life of me, and all of a sudden I was in like that rabbit hole where like 3 hours went by. So
he's a talented kid. He's a great guy. I couldn't tell you what was my first Ryan Trahan video, but he doesn't do the typical like LA vlogger thing where they don't really do much. They just kind of parade around a big house with, you know, their friends and kind of just destroy shit. He doesn't do that. He has a house with his now fiance, which is awesome. And he just does a lot of creative videos that usually involve, like, one of his best series, in my opinion, is turning a penny into $1,000 or $10,000 or $1,000. Yeah. He scales a penny and he ends up trading his way up to $1,000. And I think that's, you know, just to watch that process and to do that whole thing is awesome. So
yeah, it's really cool. I feel like I just remembered what video I was watching too, and now I feel like I picked the worst video in the world to watch. It was like, what was it? It was like him DMing verified celebrities to see who would actually respond.
Right. Yeah. No,
sometimes I get a kick out of those as well, but like,
well, even that's more exciting than watching Jake Paul, you know, like burn a mattress in a pool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or all the prank videos out there where it's like, let's get likes by making someone else feel like shit. And I'm like, you know, there's a difference between like a good-natured prank and like verging on like abuse. So
exactly.
yeah,
so I'm horrible with YouTube. Like, I can't. I'm gonna be totally honest. I can't stand YouTubers, and the only ones that I can really watch are like things that I'm interested in, like magic or, you know, some cardistry stuff, but not for the most part. You know, it's more magic stuff. It's like the channels that I like to follow are like Mark Roba. You know, people like that who like blow my mind because they're so brilliant, and I can, like, you know, like true crime. That's what I watch on YouTube. I will log in and I will watch 10 hours of serial killer like YouTube shows or something.
Interesting. We might have, that might be an extraneous problem, but
I can't. I would never do any of that because I wouldn't want to deal with the consequences. But
But that's why
I can't. That's totally why. But I couldn't. I just can't sit and watch YouTubers. My girlfriend loves YouTubers. Like, she can.
I can't
watch them for hours.
I can't do just like regular. I mean, Ryan Trahan's the closest thing to like a regular vlogger guy that I'll watch. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I can't, like, just the clickbaity. I mean, everyone uses clickbait, but like just the clickbaity titles and the thumbnails, I just can't get behind. I'm the same way. I'll watch. Honestly, what I've been doing is during work, I'm plugging my computer to my monitor and I'll just watch 10 hours of like serene aerial footage over New Zealand or some shit like that. You know? Like, dude, that's
phenomenal.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've been following Ryan Trahan for years and years, and I actually only recently, like in the last 3 months, followed him on Instagram. I don't know why I didn't have him there, and I saw that he was going to host this Instagram talent show, and it was just him sitting and he just talked about it, and you apply via. So you had to apply. You had to apply via a Google form that was in his bio, and I go, well, I got nothing to lose and pretty much everything to gain. So So I clicked the form in the bio. The whole bio, or the Google form, was like, what's your name? What's your Instagram? What's your talent? Why should you be in the talent show? And then send us a link to a video or whatever you do. So I gave my whole spiel that I've given you guys. I, you know, started magic when I was 8. And then what's actually funny is I applied as a cardist. I explained cardistry. I said, hey, I do this thing cardistry. It's like juggling or skateboarding with playing cards. It's very cool. Here's a video of me doing it. And I think I submitted the video of me on the rooftop in Brooklyn doing cardistry.
Nice.
I was like, yes, like, this has got to get me in because this video did well. This, you know, so I get a message. I get a message from him. I think the same day I applied, and he's like, "All right, you're in."
Nice.
And I thought, what the heck? So, I was thinking to myself before the first round happened. I'm like, well, gosh, how is he going to do it? So he selected 50 people, or his team did selected 50 people to go through. And I'm like, well, God, 50 people. I'm going to have to. So it was during a work day. I'm working, doing work calls and stuff. And I had the live video pulled up on my phone and I'm just waiting. And then I'm sitting with my girlfriend and I'm like, man, maybe he's not going to pick me. Cause it was like, I think I was like the 39th person to go. And by then 3 hours had gone by.
Yeah.
My phone's about to die. And I'm like, oh, shit, he's just forgot about me. And then I see the little like adding icon on the Instagram live. And I I scrambled to like grab my laptop, and I had set up like a space out in my living room to do it. And what's funny is John Stessel, I contacted John Stessel because I go, oh my gosh, I'm at this talent show. He consults for Dan White and, makes magic for Jimmy Fallon performances. So he knows how to design tricks for live performances, specifically television. So I go, what do I do? Right. I said, what cardistry moves should I do that'll get me to the next round? And he goes, you're an idiot if you're going to do cardistry on a talent show. Yeah. And I go, what? It's the coolest thing in the world. And he goes, to you, but you're on a talent show. What do you think you're going to get through by throwing a card behind your back? So I immediately pivoted. I'm like, you're right. I got to do magic. So I did an any card at any number routine through the screen, which was awesome. And I got a message that night that said I'm in the top 10. And I go, nice. Wow. And I was up against, it was crazy. The rest of the top 10 was, it was me and there was a juggler guy. There's a guy that could juggle. He said he was going to juggle chainsaws.
All right.
Yeah. So, and then everyone else was a singer. And
a lot of musicians.
Yeah. Well, and even during the audition round, it was crazy. I was like, it's like singer after singer after singer, and not to discount their talent. Like everyone who sang was great. I couldn't carry a tune if I had a handle on it. And, but as soon as I got in, I saw the rest of the top 10. I'm like, well, geez, I'm the only magician against another non-singer, and then the rest are singers. And I was like, gosh. So top 10 day comes around, and I perform this routine where I blindfold myself with duct tape, and all three of them select a card, and I produce the first card like this, and the second card, or I put this on the table. The second card ends up being the first card, and I shoot the second card out, blindfolded, catch it, and then the third card actually disappears from the deck, and underneath my duct tape, folded up, is the third card. Yeah, blew their mind. Yeah, they lost it.
I'm not gonna lie, I saw that one too. I think that blew my mind as well. I was just like,
okay. Wow. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Designed that with John Stessel. He and I rehearsed constantly between rounds. So cool. Very thankful for that guy. I'm very close to him. And so I got the message. They actually called me, FaceTime me, and they said, hey, you're in the top 4. And at this point, I'm, all kinds of shaky. And so I'm like, gosh, John, what trick should I do for the final round? This is $10,000 on the line. And we came up with the idea of mailing them something. So like what, I could do another intangible card trick from the phone, and you just got to trust me that your card is lost in the deck, or I could send them a package. So I ended up overnightting them a package with a couple things in it. And
that's so cool. That trick was bomb.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I did Woody Aragon's ripping trick, where essentially they have 4 cards and they trade them around and rip them in half and mix them up, and they put a piece under their butt and they eliminate cards after shuffling, and they're left with 1 half, and it ends up being the same half under the butt. So perfect trick for a virtual setting. And then I had them select a bill at random, and I ripped the bill and had them did a calculator trick, and the number ended up being the same serial number, which was actually the same order of a deck of cards that I gave them. And then at the end of that order was this corner that I tore from the beginning, held it up to the screen, it matched, but also the serial number matched the cards, which matched the whiteboard, which matched the calculator. So I didn't win, is what I'm saying. And
which is crazy.
Crazy. Honestly, so it was funny because I know for that live, I jumped on and I sent it to Steve, and Steve jumps on, and we're watching it. And out of all the chat in it, I just see Steve's name pop up and go, that one. And I was like, it probably did, though, because it was phenomenal. And then when I found out you didn't, I was like, damn, that's some bullshit. So
good. Yeah, I honestly got my hopes up because it was literally me and 4 other singers, fantastic singers. And I was like, they didn't react. And this is no knock on the other competitors, but they didn't react in the same way that they reacted to the other singers. Which,
what? Whatever. I've been around a lot of musicians, and I understand you were in the competition. You have to be respectful, and I get it. Yeah. I've been around a lot of musicians, and all I got to say is you should have won.
I appreciate it.
100%, because their reaction.
That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
It honestly looked like Ryan was going to have to pause the show because he was speechless. Haley was going to cry, and then the other Ryan was just left the scene, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, you blew their mind. I think you blew everyone in the chat's mind as well. Yeah. So from a purely reactionary point of view, you definitely crushed it.
Yeah. I appreciate it. And I was talking to John the night before round 4, or the top 4 happened, round 3. And I was like, John, God, what if I don't win? And he was like, well, first of all, don't think like that. And, this was actually one of the first times, one of the first competitions, not that I do a lot of competing, but where I was fully confident in myself. Like I didn't even let myself, it was just an experiment. I didn't want to even let myself think the thought, maybe I'm not good enough. The only thought I was thinking, and maybe it sounds arrogant, but the only thought I was thinking was I'm going to win. And that's what I feel like that's what got me to round 4 and got me those reactions. But
for sure. You got to think that way. You can't, if you vision yourself losing, you're going to lose.
Exactly. So I didn't even let myself have those thoughts, but I said, John, God, what happens if I lose? And he goes, it's not the end of the world. You're going to be the same person. You're going to be in the same position you are at this moment.
Yeah.
And you're going to have spent the last 3 weeks creating the best magic you've ever done. And that's true.
Yeah.
I'm now 10 times a better magician than I was before. And plus I got the opportunity to perform in front of literally millions of people.
Yeah. The exposure alone was worth $10,000. So
So what I'm saying is there's no way I could regret any part of that, because I made long-lasting friendships with some of the competitors, and I created some of the best magic I think the world has ever seen on an Instagram live show. So,
it was amazing. Cool. And I actually want to touch on something you said, like right when you first started telling the story, and I think this speaks a lot to the underlying kind of spirit of you that drives you to where you are now. And I know a lot of people ask, how did you get to be where you are? And the thing that stood out to me that you said is, I went to the forum and I signed up because I thought, what do I have to lose? And I think that that willingness to take a chance, because what's the worst that happens? You don't get accepted, you don't win. Like, you're still going to come out of it better because you learned. And again, like, you immediately flipped into a collaboration there. You were smart enough to see the opportunity that was presenting itself, not just for what was immediately in front of you, but all the tangible aspects of it as well, which is amazing.
Yeah. That's a big thing I've been trying to do. I think I said at the beginning, I'm kind of in this new, without, becoming Gandhi on you right now, but I'm in this new space of like, I got this new great job, and I got these relationships that are new, that are awesome, and I feel really good about myself, just confidence wise. So just that whole thing of like, well, what the heck are you gonna, even if I didn't get into the top 50, I would be in the same. I'd be the same person. Same person financially too, which is fine. I'd have the same friendships. I'd have everything to gain from that, and the things that I did gain was an entirely new audience and even some more friends. Which, going back to what I was saying before, is the only thing that I was missing. You know what I mean? I got more internet friends.
You're succeeding here very well at winning internet friends. So that's good.
That's very good. So very fun experience. Gosh. And then being able to talk to Ryan, that was the closest thing to talking to like a real celebrity. You know what I mean? Because he's got millions and millions of followers, and he's the nicest kid too. So nice.
That's cool.
He really seemed like it. I mean, not only from those videos, but all of his videos. Again, he seems to have a very genuinely good personality and good, nature to him, which is awesome. So
I really think, I mean, I couldn't tell you the way he genuinely acts, but when we FaceTimed and Zoomed for those interviews and for the show and everything, he was like so genuine and when I told him like, I said on a Zoom call with him, I said, this is a big moment for me because I've been following you for years and you're one of my favorite YouTubers. And he was like, very genuine, but I'm sure he hears that every other half hour, you know what I mean? But he was just very genuine about it and said it meant a lot to him. And
but he probably doesn't usually hear from guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
You're an adult at this point too, so from adult men,
right.
Yeah, no, it's kind of cool to get like a totally different demographic, perspective from you, so I'm sure he appreciated that.
Yeah, well, it was a great experience.
Well, and it definitely gets you in front of a different demographic too, because I'm sure his demographic isn't 18 to 45-year-old men. So
definitely skews a little younger.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I feel like that's where a lot of magic in cardistry falls, is like 18 to 35 men, because they can't go down to 13 because of, privacy issues. And so there you go.
Exactly.
So,
all right,
go for it. Go for it.
Since we just talked about, magic and stuff like that, we have a couple of things here regarding magic. Let's get this question out of the way. It's super quick. It's from Mock. And what do you use to edit your videos?
Premiere Pro. Adobe Premiere Pro.
Right on. That's what I use. Next is, someone said that you could do a flicker. Oh, Hugo said you could do a flicker shot. Oh wait.
Oh,
Yeah, without looking. Without looking.
Yeah.
So can you quickly do a flicker shot for us?
Looking. I'll look at you guys. There you go.
I can't even flip a card, so that to me is
Sean, man, you gotta teach me how to do that one of these days.
Oh yeah, it's way easier than you think.
And
say that.
let's since we were talking about magic, can you show us a magic trick?
Oh God. Yeah.
So I'm gonna switch up the view here a little bit. So give me 2 seconds. What am I doing? I'm dropping that. I'm going there. Wrong way.
Trick?
Nice try, Tyler. We don't want you in there.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done that ripping trick?
So no, we have not.
I've seen it, but I haven't done it yet.
It's really something. Yes, well, maybe it's better to go back to the 3.
Okay, yeah. Let's go to the 3 here, and
You want? Am I gonna rip it?
I gotta get myself off there.
Yeah,
There
get 4 cards that you can rip. I'll do it too. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds. Sure, I need a junk deck.
4 cards I can rip, huh? Where's my Fontaine deck? No, I'm just kidding. Did anybody hear that? I hope not.
I'm ready.
What deck you got?
Oh, what are those? Oh,
The Black Crown by Alexandria.
I'm actually going to use the crappiest deck I own, and that's the Truth and Lies from Murphy's Magic.
There you go.
Actually, I'm going to change mine. I'm going to get something else here.
Okay.
I'm going to use these.
And also, I don't know how many viewers we got right now, but if anyone at home wants to try this, this is an incredible experience that you will never forget. You might forget
All
it.
right, let's tell people, everybody at home, grab 4 cards.
4 cards. They can be whatever cards you want. Just
You can rip. I have the grapes.
There you go. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, make sure they're all different. I got all different cards here. Okay, we ready?
Yep.
Everybody ready here? Okay, we're good.
Okay, I'll hold the cards in your hand, however you like, and mix them up. I just want you to shuffle them face down like this.
All right.
Okay. When you're done, hold them square in your hand like so.
All right.
Now turn them.
Can you see the cards here?
Yes. Perfect. Turn them hamburger style like this.
All right.
And just grip them right in the middle and just rip all of them down the center.
All right, I got to put my camera up because I can't see what you're doing.
Sure, yeah. Just rip them down.
Right down the middle.
So you're holding 2 halves.
Yep.
2 halves.
Okay. This is your decision. We're going to make a series of choices here that all affect the outcome, okay? You get to decide which half goes on top of the other. Does the right go on the left or the left go on the right?
I want to say left goes on top of right.
Sure. Go. It's up to you. It's your life. Great. Go ahead and hold them square. Have you done? Are you done? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now what I want you to do, and you don't have to do this, again, your choice, but we're going to decide if we're going to cut the cards or not. So just if you want, take an amount of cards off the top and move them straight to the bottom. You done that?
Yep.
Yep.
Good. Now I want you to take the top 3 cards like this and just slide them somewhere into the middle, not the top or bottom, but somewhere in the middle of your packet.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Now take the top card and put it under your butt without looking at it.
All right.
And Tyler, name a number 1 to 4.
3.
3. Tyler, just you. Take the top 3 cards from your deck and put them somewhere in the middle.
All right.
Okay. Steve, name a number 1 to 4.
1.
1. Take the top 1 card and move it into the center. Square it all up. Okay. I'll name a number. Let's all do 2. Take the top 2 cards and move them somewhere into the center, not the top or bottom. Have you done that?
Yep.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Now take the top card and put it under everything.
On the ball.
Yep. Throw the next card over your shoulder. Yep. Top card goes to the bottom. Next one goes over your shoulder. Top card goes to the bottom. Next one goes over your shoulder. Top card to the bottom. Next one over your shoulder. Top card to the bottom. Next card over your shoulder. Top card to the bottom. Next card over your shoulder. Okay, you should be left with one card, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Now, if you remember, before anything started, we made these choices however we wanted that all affected a certain outcome, and we took out a card at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Without flipping anything over, take that half out and just see. Mine matches up exactly.
Son of a bitch.
Flip that
Mine
over.
matches up exactly as well.
Oh my
Same-
God, are you kidding me?
There you go. Very cool.
That is so cool.
Isn't that great?
Oh my God, yeah.
That's awesome. That's
so cool, yeah.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
Yeah. So Shin Lim actually does that.
He did on AGT, right?
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
And I could not tell you. I know how it works, and I don't know how it works. You know what I mean? Like it's literally
it's crazy, right? It's
no forcing. You can do. If you guys were in the same room, you guys could trade cards. You guys could trade an amount of cards and mix them into your own, and still do that elimination. It would still work.
That is
Really?
Crazy.
So
That
it's
is
got to be like basically like the 27 thing, right?
I've done it face up. I've done that trick face up, and it's literally fools me. What we just did fools me. I don't know how that happened. And this is not,
it's so weird. Yeah,
that is so amazing.
it's really like an insane trick.
Yeah,
that is so awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's great. I saw Shin do it, and then when you would do it, I just loved how you like put it all in with the the calculator and the dollar and all that. It's just like
that was the biggest thing.
It was really cool.
Like I want to mail them something impossible, but I also want to make sure that I'm not just bouncing around like ping. What do you call that game? Not
ping pong.
Yeah, pong.
No. The
Ping pong.
Pinball.
Yeah.
Pinball.
Yeah. I don't want to be
yeah.
bouncing around like that. So yeah, it was cool. It was cool to find. It was like a puzzle. It was honestly like chiseling out like a statue, like with John over FaceTime. We were designing these effects and we were like, how could this go into the, and it just made sense. So yeah.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that's a side of that of Magic that not a lot of people get to see. Really, the building out the whole big performance aspect of it, and thinking about the reactions ahead of time. I think a lot of times, especially with younger magicians getting into it, who either rely on other tricks or gimmicks or things like that, you expect the reaction, but you're not building for the reaction.
Right.
And really, that's so awesome. That's an awesome experience to have.
It's great, and I love John to the moon and back for it because his brain, the way he thinks. First of all, that guy seems like he's on speed 24/7. But
he does.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. I consider that guy my biological brother because I never had.
That's cool.
Whole child.
He doesn't answer messages though, which sucks.
I'll get on him about that. But that was the first time I really designed a routine. It's one thing to read a book and to learn sleights, but to design tricks that all go together like that is really, really a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Now, Caitlin, Small Hand Things wants to know where she can learn that. Is it in a book, a DVD? Like, who was the originator of it again?
So as far as I know, Woody Aragon.
Woody Aragon, that's it.
Yeah. So it's in his book called A Book in English. It's the first book. It's the first trick in the book.
Oh, cool. And what's the name of the trick? Cod Ripper?
I could look right now. Let me grab the book. One second.
All right. We'll also throw a link to the book in the comments after the video too for anyone who's interested. So
yeah.
So this is his book. Here it is.
Let's see it.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, it's literally just called Card Rip. So
what a jerk that guy is.
I know. My dad. I think that's one of my dad's favorite magicians.
Yeah.
I took my dad to Magic Con. Yeah, this is actually a great memory with my dad. So Magic Con 2014 was the first ever magic convention that I had gone to. And I'd seen all the videos on YouTube about it, all these big names showing up there, and Zach Wheeler's there, and David Blaine was there once. Matt Fox, if Matt Fox is still here, I met him for the first time there.
That's awesome.
But Woody Aragon was there, and I was like, I really want to go to this, to my parents, and they're like, well, you can't get what was I in 2014? I was 16 or 17, and they're like, we don't want you going by yourself. So I made my dad literally registered for a magic convention and went to all the lectures with me. And I remember him having a blast at the Woody Aragon show.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's super cool. That's a dope trick, and anybody can do it, which is the cool thing, right?
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's great. It's a great thing to do. It's like built for this situation.
Yeah, and people are just, they're mind blown because they're like, but he didn't touch my cards. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're in the room, people are like, okay, he did something that tricked me, but where they're touching all the cards, then it's crazy, right?
Can I give you guys a little tidbit that I
Sure.
So I obviously did this for Trahan's live performance,
right? Yeah,
and I was. Oh, this is actually so funny. So Stessel on the phone was like, when we were doing this like a week in advance, he's like, do not do the Woody Aragon ripping thing. Because he does that, or Dan White does that all the time for his show. And John's done it at a number of private events, and he did it for the CEO of Google. Right? Yeah. Got to be a smart guy to be the CEO of Google.
Yeah.
And he goes, no matter how smart anybody is, they will mess it up. This trick has got a 1 in 4 chance of failing. And I'm like, I don't like those odds.
It's because they put it on the bottom, or they put it
right. It's very much, predicated on following my instructions to a T, which obviously you guys did. And it happened that they did too. It's a very easy trick to mess up, especially because you're not there to correct them. But so I was like, there's a lot at stake here. I think it's worth the risk. I think, if this hits, then I have a shot at the 10K. So he's like, all right, well, don't come crying to me when it goes wrong. So I'm practicing.
I thought they were going to mess it up. To be honest, they were like,
Yeah. Well, here's the
Ryan was like holding the cards all weird.
I know. Yeah. I just had to like close my eye. I had to spray and pray, as they say. But anyway, so I'm doing the trick live, and I get to the part where I'm putting under and throwing over, and I notice I'm left with 2 cards, and they're at the end. They're done. Yeah. Oh no! So
luckily they didn't throw theirs away.
Right. So I'm like, are you guys? So I go, throw the next one over your shoulder, and they're like, well, we only got 1, and I'm like, okay, cool. And I go, well, this isn't gonna work out for me. So I'm like, what the hell's happening? So I do the whole line of like, before this we did the blah blah blah, check under your butt, and I pull mine out. I pull my halves out like this, faces towards me, and I go, that's crazy. I think I just put something together. You can watch. I go, now my backs match up, and then I throw them away because the faces were wrong. My face is messed up, and I go, oh my god, I'm the 1 in 4. There's 3 of them. I'm the 4th one that messed it up.
Oh my god, dude!
And I go, oh crap! All right, well look, it matches, and they're losing their minds. They don't, I don't even have to do this. So I go, check yours, and obviously it works. What had happened was I took my cards, my example cards, to have them follow along with, from a deck that had been sitting by the windowsill, so it was wet. And I thought I had taken 4 cards, but it was just 5 cards where 2 were stuck together. And I was thinking when I was ripping them initially, I'm like, why are these so hard to rip? Whatever, I'm just nervous. And then it turns out that like, oh my god,
that's amazing.
So it just that goes to show you that if there's something that can go wrong, it will go wrong.
It's so funny because I love hearing these stories because the fans don't see it, the audience doesn't see it. Right. And when we were talking to ECAT, she kind of gave us an inside scoop on her Fool Us.
Oh, really?
Her Fool. Oh, yeah. She said it was a disaster. But I watched the video and you couldn't even tell. Luckily, the TV version was fine.
Yeah, the TV version, because they edited it. She said there was basically like 5 minutes where they lost the piece of paper that the host was supposed to open.
No, the balloon. They
lost the balloon with the piece of paper. And like they had to like get it, and so like she just stood there, and then they like edited it out after the fact. But I was they did a great job editing. Like it was smooth, but like
she ended up fooling them.
No,
she did not. No.
Still, I mean that's still good.
Well, she also said though, like at the end of it, because it's a live audience and they don't redo it, the audience didn't have the same editing benefit. So like they're sitting there for like 15 minutes while they're trying to find this balloon. And they're just like, we don't even give a shit at this point.
Oh man, that's rough.
Yeah. So, and I think being able to like think on your feet though, like that is important. So
magic, for sure.
Yeah.
But
so go ahead, Steve.
I was just gonna say, now since you've done a dope trick for us, can you do a little cardistry for us to show us your other?
Sure. I can do my best. I get nervous in front of a camera.
Just pretend like we're not watching.
So I usually just like
Thank God he's wearing pants.
I know. I'm almost not. I got a lot of thigh going on today. Anyway, this is generally like what I do when I tell people I do cardistry. It's just like it's just a dumb little packet cut that like goes into a combo. It just kind of, I think it kind of captures all that cardistry has to offer in terms of one-handed stuff, single card stuff, and packet cuts.
Nice.
Yeah, and to me in cardistry is the beautiful thing about cardistry. Yeah. I'm not a huge I enjoy like looking at all the crazy stuff,
sure,
but it's not practical. Like half the stuff takes you 26 minutes to get into it. Right. Like it's not cohesive. It's just they're doing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden they wait 20 minutes and they're like,
right. And I kind of have this weird relationship with cardistry now. I wouldn't say weird, but I wouldn't consider. I mean, I'm a cardist. I can't let myself say I'm not a cardist. But when you compare, like the Fontaine trials are going on right now, and if you guys watch any video from that, I mean, those kids. That's what I'm saying. Those kids just blow me out of the water.
It's spectacular what they do.
It's amazing. They're the best. I can't even begin to think about maybe comparing to them. You know what I mean? But like where I am with cardistry is that I'm not the best cardist, but I'll be gosh darned if I'm not a brilliant marketer. You know what I mean? I'm the best. I'm making it my goal to have the best videos and the best looking content for cardistry. I can't make a move to save my life. If someone's holding a gun to my head and saying, "Hey, make a good cardistry move or you're dead," I'd be like, "Just take me now." I couldn't do it. But
you know what you could do? Is just kick his ass and take his gun away.
Sure, I do. Yeah, I do study traditional Korean martial arts. But what I'm saying is, like, I can't. I have a couple moves that can like hold up against to the standard of what a cardist is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I can be considered a cardist by my peers and everything. But I don't make moves really anymore. I make great videos and I use cool cards, and that's just kind of where I'm at. And I think that's fine.
Well, like you said too, the video aspect of it is what you like. So, go ahead, Steve.
Go ahead, bro. No, you go.
So I think I mentioned this in the pre-show too. So we'll talk about this real quick. It's always tough when you're not in a room with someone because the physical cues you normally see when someone's going to speak, you don't see on the screen because you don't know where to focus. Right. But yeah, so like I know I mentioned this in the pre-show, but like my first introduction to you in general was the Snackers trailer, the Snackers V2 trailer. And honestly, everything about it, like the cardistry, but the video and the lighting and the music and everything, it was just so well choreographed that I was blown away. From there immediately, it was awesome.
That's mostly Cam. I mean, Cam's an amazing photographer and videographer, and that's the thing too. Like that video, and I'm not knocking Snackers or Organics at all, but like that video is not a Fontaine video. It's not an anyone video. But gosh darn it looks better than both of them. You know what I mean? Like it's shot well. The cardistry is decent, but like the light is good and it's edited well. And I think, it's just a question of who you're marketing to, right? And I love
there's a difference between I'm going to interrupt. It's just before you even say what you're going to say is there's a big difference between what looks good to a professional and what looks good to the layman.
That's what I'm saying.
Because and that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you. Like there's a humongous difference because there's a ton of people on Instagram that will post a picture of a deck of cards somewhere. I'm not going to say it because I'll call people out, but like they'll put the cards somewhere and some people will be like, "That's an amazing image," and I'll be like, "No, it's not." Like it's like goes against everything that you're supposed to do in photography, So and I think to the layman, it doesn't matter, where us professionals, I'm sure when you watch a video and there's like a harsh cut and it doesn't flow, you're like, "Oh my God." And then other people are like, "That's so dope."
I can't stand most cardistry videos these days just because I can't stand the video part of it. I love watching cardistry, dude. I like it. Most cardists are better than me. So of course I'm going to watch it, but I just have these particular personal standards for myself about video and how video should be. And that's just, that's just called taste and that's style. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and that's something I think I have a lot.
but there's also, it's called law, right? And there's the law of graphic design. There's the law of photography. There's the law of videography. You know, if you're doing an interview, you can't shoot from two separate angles and mash them together. It doesn't work. So and I talked to Tyler about this, and there's several people that I can't follow on Instagram that are photographers, because I get, every time I look at it, I'm just like, I can't do it. I just can't do it.
I said this in 2018 that I think resonated with a lot of people at CardistryCon during my talk. I said the only wrong way to do cardistry is to not do it, right?
Yeah.
So you're not the best videographer, and maybe you're breaking every rule of photography, but just the fact, like, it's weird. I find fulfillment to know that people are taking their own time to learn video and photo and just to experience a deck of cards like this, because this kind of gets to my whole MO as literally a person. But like, cards have taken me around the world at least twice, and
it's amazing.
Given me so many amazing friends. And gosh, it would be great if everyone could have that experience. Not even with cardistry, you know what I mean? Like, just get into competitive crocheting or something. You know what I mean? Do something where there's a community on the internet and get into it, because that's the best use of this thing, of these machines. You know what I mean? Even 40 years ago, we didn't have this. And my dad was a ham radio operator and had to stay up till 2 a.m. to talk to his friend in Australia over Morse code.
That's crazy.
I'm talking to you guys in real time right now on the other side of the country. I guess you're in California.
Yeah. But I'm in New Jersey, so across the country for sure.
I don't know. It's so profound sometimes for me to think of, but I just want
all I could say is we're living in Pee-wee's Playhouse right now. I remember when that motherfucker walked in his little creep masturbation phone booth and would talk on Skype or whatever he called it, but like he would video chat with people. And I remember being like, oh my God, the day that we could do that would be sick. And here we are, literally 3 of us talking over the internet, chatting with people at the same time. It's crazy.
It sounds so silly to say, because obviously this entire generation has grown up with it, but there was a time when this wasn't a real thing.
Yeah. This was all sci-fi.
Right. And I wouldn't be the person I am today, regardless of audience or whatever, if it weren't for this. So I'm just happy that people are taking part in the community and adding to it in whatever capacity.
I agree fully, and I think as shitty as these times are right now with COVID and all this stuff, it's been the most amazing thing, because people are connecting more because they're stuck at home, and they're like really needing that connection, whether it's through Zoom or Skype or whatever. They're reaching out and they're just communicating a little more because they're working less. Yep. They're walking outside, they're doing yard work, they're just involving themselves with things that they wouldn't normally do because they don't have time. So it's people are being innovative. They're coming up with new things. They're they're doing collaborations, and I think one of the coolest things, and I'm sure Tyler agrees with me here. And when we started deckinaround, it's very difficult for anybody starting anything, right? To have this idea and be like, look, we're 2 fucking guys in the internet. I mean, on Instagram, who we don't have a big following. I think at the time we had 1,000 each.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And that's not a lot, let's be honest. And we're starting and we're reaching out to people who wouldn't know who we are. And quite frankly, being on our show isn't going to necessarily help them, in any way, shape, or form. But a lot of, we had people that wouldn't respond, but then we had big names in our eyes and in the community, answer the messages and say, yeah, we'll be on, and this, obviously we're booked till the end of, August. So one thing is I appreciate you answering it right away too. It wasn't like you waited 6 weeks and then got back. It's like you responded and you collaborated with us, because this is a collaboration. And I think more people in this community need to do it, no matter what level they're at. And one thing, martial arts is a prime example. Rock climbing is a prime example where people of all ages gather, no matter what, and they work on it. You know, kids in any industry, any hobby, are killing it. They're way better than their elders.
Oh yeah,
they're more flexible. They're stronger. You know, they don't have the experience, obviously, which is where, you know, our experience takes over. But you know, they offer different things. So someone who's not as popular, or, you know, whatever the case may be, we're all going to learn something from each other.
right.
So I would love, you know, the only one thing I would love more in this community is just collaboration, you know, and create more friends over the internet, man.
There you go. It all comes back to that. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, because it's such a small community, and we're gonna run into each other, right?
Yeah. No, I think it's awesome.
I think I told myself, just really quickly here, I think I told myself after 2015 Cardist Recon in Brooklyn that I literally live, like, what gives my life purpose is the moment you get to meet someone who you've only known on the internet. I think that is the coolest shit ever. That is so cool, man.
Like so much adrenaline runs behind that moment.
Yeah, because you're. I mean, you can't really explain it properly unless you've experienced it. But I mean, 2015 Cardist Recon was just like that for the entire weekend. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Chris Ramsey was there, and that was before Chris Ramsey was Chris Ramsey.
Yeah,
and you know, Tobias and Oliver and Noel were there, and Dan. That was the first time meeting Dan and Dave up close, and it's just like, it's literally. I say this a lot, but it's like what gets me out of bed is that one moment. I was probably going to be with you guys next, but, like, you know, that moment I get
fingers crossed.
You guys, yeah, it's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And one of the questions that came in, I think this is a good segue into it, was, which was your favorite Cardist Recon? Like, I feel like a lot of the ones you've been to, if not all of them, you've had such great memories you've built. Yeah. If I don't know if it's fair to even ask, but it came, so I figured I might as well ask it. But was there one that really stands out to you as, like, the best out of all of them, not to diminish any of the greatness of the others?
My year revolves around Cardist Recon. Like, there's no other holiday that makes sense to me, first of all, or that I like as much as Cardist Recon.
That's awesome.
Which, I think that's the case for a lot of. I mean, I think every cardist, if you're a sane person. But I mean, if I had to choose one, oh God. Oh yeah, I mean, easy. It's easy to say Portland, last year's, because
everybody says last year's, like,
yeah. I wish I could. I've always wished I could experience Portland as a visitor, because I know this place like the back of my hand. You know, there's no surprises here because I've been here.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm just from, like, a little kid standpoint, from the 8-year-old me, you know, getting on YouTube and following these people, I would have never thought at 8 years old that 12 years later, wait a minute, that 13 or 14 years later, my idols would be walking down the street and be at my favorite restaurants, and I would get to hang out with them. You know what I mean? I was actually, we have those little dumb scooters here. You guys have those over?
We have them.
Yeah. So a couple days before the con, I was riding. I'm one of those people. I was riding a scooter to work, and I look over and I'm like, wow, those guys look like Tobias, Oliver, and Noel. And I go, oh God, it is. And that was like a moment where I was like, damn, this is crazy. This whole situation. So yeah, Portland was great because it's my hometown. And I feel like a lot of people, I mean, the only thing I wear is Portland gear. So everyone knows that I'm from Portland, and, you know, everyone was like, wow, it's really cool to be in your hometown. And, but if it's not that, then Brooklyn was a close second, because that was the first time I feel like I really, really committed to the art there. Nice. Because I realized that all of that was possible. And I told myself at that one that I would be a headline speaker at one point. And then in LA I was. So and just, cool. And at every Cardist Recon, without fail, I always cry, no matter what. Doesn't matter where I am.
You're a sensitive guy, Sean. I like it. I dig it, man.
Yeah. But, like, I swear to God, it's just such a meaningful time, and it sucks having to leave. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Caitlin said one of her favorite memories at the con was comparing her hand size to yours.
That was strange. I didn't know. I mean, I knew, like, I could assume that she had smaller hands, but, like, it's they're small.
No,
They're real.
you can tell when she holds a deck of cards. Like my hand is like raw, and I don't have my mini deck here, but it's like this is actually it would be the opposite. But
yeah, you need the jumbo
when you watch it, it's kind of like
crazy.
It's so cool because she's so badass.
I know
she's so crazy. Badass though.
I think I remember her going around to like everyone, and as soon as someone saw that like they're doing hand sizes, and then how small her hands were, they're like, "Whoa, hold on, what the heck?" Yeah, crazy. Yeah, she's awesome.
You can't. That's when you can't make excuses, man. Like you got to just figure it out, make it work. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, very cool.
That's so true. Let's see what we got here.
So one of the other ones, actually, a question that I had here was, and I think we've kind of covered this a bit just throughout the discussion organically, but if there's anything specifically advice-wise for putting yourself out there with companies to kind of get where you are now. And I think, we kind of talked about it with both your situations, but outside of, I guess, Portland Gear and Orbit, whether there's other companies you work with and how you kind of got to that point.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to the nothing to lose thing, right?
Yeah.
So with me, I made it a goal. I think it was in high school. In high school, I started to, I remember the day I got 1,500 followers on my Instagram. And I'm like, that's crazy. All my friends have 200 followers and I got 1,300 more than them. And of course, it went straight to my head. So, but I remember at that point in high school, that was even before like the word influencer was a thing.
Yeah.
I was like, well, dang, I just want to get free stuff. So I want to put a lot of effort into my work, into my craft, and I want to get people to want to send me things. So that's what I did. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's another perfect use of the internet. But I guess if you're wondering how to get into working with brands and with companies, it's make the brand want you. Give them a reason to pay attention to you, right? So like you can't just be some Joey bag of donuts off the street and just have an Instagram. It sucks that like the follower count and engagement is the new currency in this space. But like, first of all, then in that case, give your audience or prospective audience a reason to follow you, right? I got a friend that streams on Twitch, and he streams gaming, and he's got the whole setup. He's got lights, and he's got Streamlabs and everything, and he's got an amazing computer. But he's been asking me how to grow on Twitch, and I don't know anything about Twitch. I know piss all about Twitch, but I'm assuming it's the same idea, right? You got to give people a reason to like you. Yep. I mean, that's kind of just like how it is in friendship. You got to give people a reason to like you, right?
Yeah.
So, find your niche, find something that differentiates you. For me, I'm not the best cardist, but gosh darn it, my videos look better than yours. Not you guys, but just, anyone.
Your videos definitely look better than mine, I promise you.
Like, that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to get my videos to look impossibly edited and to have to be so dynamic and to give you a particular feeling. So that's where I went. And then, so all of a sudden, when someone says Sean, first of all, I hate talking about myself like this because it sounds so arrogant, and I like to pride myself on being humble, which is almost an oxymoron. But you know what I'm saying? It's like you have to give someone a reason to remember you, be memorable, and
I totally agree.
Position yourself in a way that gives you an edge over some other guy who's going to ask this company to send him shoes or whatever it is. You know
don't
what I mean?
Beg. Don't fucking beg.
No, don't beg. Say, hey, you
do
make
the work.
Available. You gotta. There's no easy answer. There's not one button you can press in your brain that automatically. Like, right? You got. I've been doing this since I was 8. I've been doing videos since I was 13. I'm here now, and I'm nowhere near what I want to be. But gosh darn it, every day that goes by, I get closer.
Yeah.
So the idea is you build yourself, build your audience, build a bank of content that looks good and is indicative of your style and is recognizable. And then you go to your brand, let's just say any card brand, and say, hey, my name's Sean. This is what I do. This is a clear indication that people like me and that people click on my stuff. How cool would it be if people were clicking on me to get to your cards?
Yeah.
Right.
There's no one formula, but that's boiled down what it comes down to. And that's for any industry, right? That's just go ahead.
You have to be marketable to that company. It's not just because, like, you know, I don't know how many messages Tyler gets, you know, and I get for Deckinaround and for, you know, Wounded Kona. People asking for, like, let's do a collaboration, and like you go on their profile and they have one picture up and they have like 27 followers, and you're like, first of all, I don't even know what you look like. Second of all, I don't even know who you are. I've never seen your name, and I'm pretty out there. Like, I see a lot of names. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you look like.
And you don't follow me.
You don't follow me. Right? You don't follow me. So
it's the value proposition. And I think you're right, though. I think for a lot of people, boiling it down to that pure point there of it's a value proposition for both sides does sound almost heartless, because you do put so much passion behind creating that value in yourself. But a lot of times that business side of it really is a cut and dry, like, I give you this, you give me this, we have a deal, we both flourish because of this, and that's how it goes. And hopefully that continues to go. You build a good relationship, and over a long road, that relationship turns into something where it's a continuous benefit to each other. So
a perfect example of this is coming up in Instagram, the Instagram space rather, Gemini Decks, who I'm not the biggest fan of anymore for reasons, but they would send me decks because they saw the value in my videos, and I didn't even think to ask about money, because it was just free decks, and at the time, it was decks that I liked. So at that point, it was I scratch your back, you scratch mine situation. Where he sends me a brick of cards, and in return, I send him photos and video. And then I think he was the first one that was like, hey man, you're doing like a lot of work that I would normally hire someone to do. And I go, well, what does that mean? And he goes, well, I'll pay you to, you know, do a trailer. And I go, great. And I worked with him for like 2 years, and I scaled from like $100 for a post to, I honestly can't remember that. I scaled it. It wasn't $100 by the time I was done working with him, because we both grew together. And he because of my post, he had more money to make more cards to sell to more people, which makes him have more money to give more money to me. And it was like stairs. And that's the beauty of, again, the internet. How cool is it that not only we can talk to people like this, but we can also do remote marketing. We can get product. It's not even cards. Like, we do this at Portland Gear all the time. We send Portland Gear to the Portland Trailblazers. We're friends with like half the team, and they rock our shit all the time. Yeah, it's awesome. Marcus is a genius. Marcus knows every business owner in Portland. It's crazy. That guy, he's a whole But you know what I mean? Like, we send our stuff out of the graciousness of our heart, with the knowledge that this is going to be a huge return on us, because people see our stuff on CJ McCullum, and then he's got millions of followers, and also he's on TV. Yeah. So all of a sudden we have a whole new audience constantly. It's awesome.
No, that really is. I mean, again, like you said, it's a continuous growth opportunity for both of you, as long as you treat the relationship right. I think that's one of the other things that we see a lot now. And I think this is actually something that came up to me the other day with the value proposition. People do get tied into the followers, and you're right, to some extent it is the currency, but at the same time, if I go and I see you have 5,000 followers and you're a repost account, your value is zero, because you have no content that you're actually providing. Totally. If I care about, I'd much rather go to the people whose content that people enjoy and see what the deal is there, because I know they're creating original content. And so what's been happening recently is I'll get a lot of people who reach out and they say, hey, you know, how do I get my account big quickly? And I'm like, honestly, like, it's a long game. It's 100% a long game. If you want to build an account quickly, like, go buy followers that are useless, because at the same time, having an account with, it doesn't matter how many followers, with no engagement means nothing. Exactly. So and trying to get people to realize that it's that desire for instant gratification is tough. Yes. And trying to break down that wall, it's not easy, but hopefully more people start to realize that the number isn't any sort of validation of who you are.
Yeah, totally. I agree. Yeah. And I really want to hammer home that point too. That's a great point, is that, numbers, I follow a number of accounts that have hundreds of thousands of followers, but they get 14 comments a post. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
100,000 people and then 14 people comment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like at some point, like having a high number is good, depending on who and what you want to work for and with or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Right.
at the end of the day, I get questions too about how to scale an account or how to grow an account because you want to work in like the influencer space. I hate that word, but you want to work in that space.
Yeah.
And it comes down to like, yeah, you can, post at the right time and, advertise and pay for advertising you can pay to get on big pages. I've done that. But at the end of the day, nothing is going to happen unless the content is good. That's why, that's not like a new thing, but that's why you hear the saying content is king, because it really is. People can sniff out BS like drug dogs.
Yep.
You can take one look at a video for 1 second and decide if you're not going to. People these days have the attention span of half a goldfish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you really, it comes down to what looks objectively good. And that there's obviously a bunch of discourse on objectivity versus subjectivity in art.
Right. Yeah.
And that's, but like everyone knows what a good video looks like. And maybe you can't articulate it, but it's the way it makes you feel when you're watching it. It's the way it makes you bob your head to the music. It's the way the cuts line up. And there is an objective good, I think. And it's all a matter of working. You got to work your ass off to get there. It's not going to happen like that. For me, it still hasn't. I mean, I don't think it's happened. It's going to take years to get my stuff to where I want it to be. So it just, at the end of the day, just do the work.
10,000 hours, man.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing though too. Honestly,
Kier just said hi.
What up, Kier?
Yeah, what up, Kier?
Kier just popped on. Hey.
If you were at the point too where you thought your stuff was as good as you wanted it to be, like, then you're obviously also missing another key aspect of it's a continuous evolution. Sure. No one should ever get to the point where they're like, all right, I'm done. You know what? When you get to that point is when you're in a hobby, not a business.
You're a douche.
No, not even necessarily a douche, but like you're in a hobby. You're not taking something seriously enough if you think you've gotten to the point where you don't want to go any further. I'm not saying and maybe that's the miscommunication there. I'm not saying that someone thinks that they're the best at it and they have nothing else to learn. But if you don't have the desire to continue learning, you're in a hobby, not a skill. Right. Because a hobby is something you do for fun and you can stop it at any time and there's no consequence to that. But if you have a skill and you're putting in time and you're developing these skills for use, whether it be business or whatever, and you stop, you've now lost a significant amount of investment time.
Yep. So, I agree.
Yeah.
100%. That's great.
Yeah, dude, it's always interesting to see, but I know there was another question that actually just popped up that I wanted to bring up here.
I have a question.
There we go.
If you could collaborate with anybody, who would it be?
Anybody in the ever world?
Yeah. No, like right now in the Cardist world, like who would be your go-to collaboration?
Oh man. In cardistry, it's so hard.
So that's not even limited to cardistry, but like big in the internet right now. What would be your ideal collaboration? That would be within, like, I don't want to say just cardistry, but like cardistry, magic, something along the lines of what you're doing now. Yeah. In
our community, I want to say like in our community, cardistry, magic, design, whatever.
Other than Chris Ramsey.
Right. Yeah. Chris Ramsey is so annoying on Modern Warfare. Sometimes we play that guy. He's really good, but gosh darn it, does he have a big head on COD? Anyway, collaborate with, God, I guess it would have to be Dealer's Grip. I'd like to do something. I've got a lot of ideas for decks, and I'd like to think that I'm doing a deck at some point soon. But
awesome.
I just love the progressive nature and how much like fine art seems to inform their designs. And I think that's something that I really align with. I'm not saying I, study Monets in my spare time, but I feel like I can appreciate paintings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I get that feeling of, I don't know why this is beautiful, but I love it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's exactly, Oliver's a weird dude, but I feel like that's kind of where he's at too. So I'd love to do something with them, whether it's, I'd love to just shoot photos for them.
Yeah.
I guess
that'd be cool.
Yeah, outside of this community, I'd love to. I would love. So I love music videos. I think I like music videos more than I like regular film. And I studied film. I've been studying film I went to an art school for 7th grade through high school, and then I went to PSU for film. So I've been doing film for a while, and I can talk it all day and night if you twist my arm enough. But I think music videos is really where my heart lies, because that's just the most energetic you can ever, charge a piece of video, right?
Yeah.
Because I love music too. And then when those two combine in kind of a serendipitous way, it's just a really beautiful thing. So I'd love to direct a music video for a big name in specifically rap, I guess.
Who?
I've been following this rapper named Felly for since he was in middle school, so literally like longer than 10 years.
Wow.
I found him on YouTube. He would make these dumb little YouTube videos of him making beats, but now he just did a song with Carlos Santana.
Nice.
So he's pretty big time in my mind. And he really informs a lot of my personal choices with style in pretty much everything. But yeah, I'd love to direct for him or design clothes for him or do any, just be his friend, really, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, you should design something for him and then send it to his team and see what they think. That's the best way.
Yeah,
to do it.
I mean, I'm friends with like a couple of his friends just through Instagram, and I've spoken to Felly a handful of times over IG DMs, but like he's Felly. So yeah. One of these days it'll happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So we have a request. We get this request all the time.
Okay.
Now, do you know Curry Stew?
Who?
Exactly. Okay. So Curry Stew is he's a card collector, and he does this thing. It's kind of like what's his name? Is it Chad? Which one is it? From Rise Magic.
Chandler.
Chandler. Yeah, not Chad. Chandler. He smells decks. So he always likes when Stu says, "Of course he doesn't know me." But so he always smells decks. So he likes when we get our guest to sniff a new deck. If you have a new deck that you can open and sniff for Stu, that should be like a thing. Sniff for Stu.
Wow.
All right, we're gonna start that. We're gonna start that, Stu. Our new thing. It's gonna be hashtag sniff for Stu. You heard it. You heard it here first. We're gonna start it on Instagram. Everyone's gonna open it up. Here, we're gonna do. Hey, Tyler.
I'm not opening a new deck to sniff for this.
No, hold on. All right, so hold on.
We're gonna take a picture of you sniffing. All right.
No, we're gonna take a video. So put him on the screen by himself.
All right.
Me?
This is wow. Yeah, this is like.
Let me get a deck first. Hold on.
Okay, go get a deck. All right, Stu. This is going to be the very first installment of Sniff for Stu.
I don't know why we're recording a video. We're literally recording it live. I can just pull it from there later.
No, because we gotta just. It's
gotta go now?
It's more this way.
All right.
It's much better this way.
Right.
Stu said this is brilliant and thank you. So you haven't even sniffed it yet, and he's gracious.
Okay, so check it out. Here we are on Deckinaround. We're live. This is Shauno.
Hey.
And what we're doing, you can't hear Sean because I'm on headphones.
Yeah.
I'm on headphones. But if you see Stu's in here on Deckinaround, we just came up with the hashtag sniff for Stu. You heard it here first. What we're going to do, we're going to get Shauno to open up a brand new deck of cards, and he's going to sniff it.
Cool. So this is a Nobody Knows deck by Nobody Knows.
Nobody knows.
Who knows who made them? So, can I be honest? A lot of people, arguably every cardist I've ever met, does this sniffing thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why you'd ever do that. It just doesn't really do anything for me.
They don't smell good.
Shauno, you don't have to understand it, man.
I guess. All right. So, elephant off. Here we go. Cracking the seal.
Here he goes. He's basically saying
it smells like a deck.
He says it smells like a deck, everybody.
It smells like a deck of cards. Wow. I mean, yeah, that's funny. Everyone does. Everyone literally. Now that I think about it, actually. That is actually, that's like sniffing a Sharpie. There's something about that.
There you go, everybody. He originally said it's really like nothing, and then he's like, oh, wait a minute. It's like sniffing a Sharpie.
It's like the smell of gasoline.
Yes, exactly. We're gonna have to cut the actual real video now that I think of it, Tyler.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
that way you can hear him.
Yeah, we'll get it going well, but that is it's a very varnish smell. So let me pull us back in here, and we'll there we go.
There you go, Stu.
There you go.
You saw it. We're gonna get all our guests to do it, and we'll put it out there tonight. Or tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll drop the deck sniff tomorrow. Don't worry.
Yeah, cool. We'll drop it if other people don't drop it first.
It's actually
taking credit for it.
Organic playing cards really is at the forefront of this whole sniffing thing, because do you guys know that they
the scent. Yeah. So we had Cam on maybe. Geez, what was that now? Like 7 or 8 weeks ago now? It's been a bit. We talked to him about the whole like Snackers V2 snafu with the oil and the leak through the cards and everything. But I never knew that an interesting fact about Cam was that he used to work at like a perfume counter, and that's why he's so into the whole scent thing, which is really like awesome.
Yeah, no, that's great. Any little bit to further the story of your brand like that is great.
No, without a doubt. I mean, again, like you said, make yourself memorable. So
they're the best branding in the business by far.
Oh yeah,
by far. Nobody beats them by far.
So, and I think the other question that came up here, and you are more than welcome to say no comment to this one, is tell us anything about the V8 orbits. That was literally the question too. The response to the box was anything about V8 orbits.
Okay. Yeah. I can tell you that they're coming. I literally, this is hand to God. I have no idea. I'll be very truthful. I don't know when they're coming out. I've seen the design. We're still working on it. I think we still need to get there, but they are very cool. And Chris really likes going into what he calls unknown territory. So doing stuff that we have never done and that hopefully the community has never done. So
cool.
Or seen. So this is definitely a step in that direction.
Nice.
The colors really pop on it. And I'm excited for it. I'm just excited because it's sort of a lull, you know what I mean? Like V7, what are we at? V7. Well, the V8's coming out. V7 is right now. And I'll admit I've been a little slow like making content for it, but like they're almost sold out. Like they don't need to be marketed anymore because everything needs to be marketed. But like, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm just excited to get a new fresh Orbit deck in my hands because it's been a year. We tried to do a deck. I think we were on track for doing 2 decks a year, but it's coming up on a whole year without a new release. So,
and I respect that. I appreciate that. I'm sick of people putting out 47 decks a year.
I know.
I think it's cool that the fact that he does it, the fact that he puts out so many, and I mean we're gonna have 2, right? The V8P and the V7. I mean the V8.
Are we? Did he say that?
Yeah, he said that.
Okay. So keep my ducks in the line here. I don't want to. Yeah. We're getting 2.
Yeah, he said he commented on one of the posts under his page. Said, "I'll tell you, there will be a V8P."
It'd be crazy if there's a 3rd one.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just kind of talking out of my ass right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this before on other shows. I want to see like cool collaborations. I want to see, Orbit and Fontaine. I want to see like I give Zach credit for doing what he probably enjoys doing, and that's collaborating with hype brands outside of cards.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back to cards. Like I want to see Orbit in there with them. I'd like to see, even if it's Dealer's Grip in Orbit, even if it's like, whatever, it doesn't even matter. Paperwave in Dealer's Grip or Lotus in Hand, whatever.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet.
I think, it's funny too, because it really kind of goes against the nature of cards. Like one of the the fundamental part of cards is they're easily accessible. They're accessible, and that's why there are card games that have lasted hundreds of years. And so, like, Steve is showing you the extent of his cardistry.
perfect form on that.
But yeah, I mean, the whole idea of, I mean, listen, you're never going to be able to have enough cards so that everyone gets your deck. You know, that's an inevitability. But as a responsible business, I think part of it is doing your best to make it feasible.
Yep. You know, this is such a tangent, but
go on it, bro.
I'm already on it. So working with Portland Gear, you know, Portland Gear is an awesome example of exactly what I want to be doing, because the whole brand was actually started off of an Instagram page, right? So Marcus, coming out of college in 2013-ish, he came across this page on Instagram, and this is when Instagram is fairly young, right? He came across this page that was just at Seattle. That was the handle, at Seattle. And they posted crazy, you know, cool things, cool, beautiful photos of the city, just reposted from photographers that post on Instagram. And they would post about events and happenings in the city. So if you're a visitor, you can just go to this one Instagram page, see everything Seattle has to offer, and pick where you want to do, or what, you know, it's a one-stop shop for showing you what all of Seattle is about.
Nice.
So Marcus had this idea, well, gosh, why isn't there that for Portland? And keep in mind, this is the early days of Instagram. So he typed in at Portland and realized the username was taken, and it was taken by some guy in Portland, Maine. So Marcus,
the original Portland.
Well, don't let me get into that. But Marcus goes, he messages this guy and says, "Hey, I've got this great idea for a page that I really would love your handle for." And he goes, "Okay, cool." So I think they made a transaction, money transaction, at like midnight. So it was like 3 a.m. I don't know. I honestly don't know the details. But long and short of it is, Marcus ends up with at Portland, and he begins doing the same thing as that Seattle page. He reposts and finds these photographers and just keeps reposting them. And in a short amount of time, especially for the year, you know, 2013, 2014, all of a sudden this page has 100,000 followers, and it's the Portland page. And there's brands that want to get on, even in 2013. There's brands that want to get on your page and throwing in bunches of money to be reposted by him. And so Marcus, that's basically why Marcus came up with the P logo and the whole brand of Portland Gears, because he loves the city and knew that other people loved the city too and wanted a way to show it. So on Black Friday in 2014, he announces that Portland Gear is going to be a real thing, and he sells $5,000 worth of shirts like that. And all of a sudden he realizes that it's a very viable thing. So yeah, it's just crazy the amount of, you know, leverage you can get out of the internet and the kinds of things you can do.
Yeah.
Start a whole business off one page, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's dedication, and it's determination, and it's going after what you want. And, you know, you can ask all the questions, you know, if you don't ask, you won't receive. So if you ask, you know, just don't be hurt if you hear no, because it just means no right now. You know, you might not be at the point where they can accept you, you know, and then maybe you wait a year and you're at a different point, and then you reach out again and you're like, how about now? Maybe they'll say yes, whatever it may be.
Of course. Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah, it's all about persistence. And again, I feel like we keep coming back to this. Like, what do you have to lose?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Seems to be the theme. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pride, but fuck pride and fuck ego, right?
Right. Yeah.
Well, and sometimes it's fear too. And honestly, just don't be afraid. Like, nothing worth having is without risk. So you got to deal with it. And especially when you're young. I mean, I feel like they always tell you, like, when you're young, you are more willing to take on risk than as you get older. So obviously, if you have good ideas and you're young, do it now, because the older you get, the more you're going to be able to talk yourself out of it.
So Marcus, I keep coming back to Marcus because he's basically my dad. I love that guy. He has unlimited knowledge about business, and I really I didn't realize, you know, after started working for Portland Gear, I wish I had gone to school for business, because I found out that I just had this completely untapped love for business and entrepreneurship. And it's unbeknownst to me, what I've been doing for the last 5 or so years is it's a smaller form of entrepreneurship. It's just
influencer is a dirty word for entrepreneur, and that's the thing. Like,
well, and also, you know, entrepreneur gets thrown around like a volleyball. Right and wrong way, you know what I mean? But anyway, I found out that I really love marketing and business and everything. But Marcus has this great saying, and I don't know if it's his, probably not. Well, maybe. He has this thing where he says, normal people think, then act. So they think about what they want to do, then they act upon it. Entrepreneurs act, then think. They just go for something.
Yep.
Without thinking about risk necessarily. And then they think about what they did and how that affected them. So like every day we have a call. We have 2 calls for Portland Gear every day. And we're normally just talking about orders, what's shipping out, what collections we're coming out with when. But the other side of that is we're always throwing around dumb ideas. Like we had the idea today. Hey, what if we did like a subscription box where like people pay an exorbitant amount of money a month to get exclusive products?
That's brilliant. Everyone does it.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe it's a great idea. Maybe it's a terrible idea. Maybe our audience doesn't like it. But we've done a number of things, even in the past week, that we've just thought about and just been like, screw it, let's do it. And then we'll figure it out. So that I think if anyone's supposed to come away from this with anything, it's to take risks and to, whatever happens, happens. But for the most part, unless you're committing a felony, you're going to be just fine.
Exactly.
You've got nothing to lose.
I agree. Now, does Portland make their own shirts?
Portland Gear, we source from a lot of places. One of our favorite collaborators is this place called All Made, and it's these shirts with at least 6 recycled water bottles in them, and they're a local company. So we'll do these lines that are in promotion of sustainability and sustainable living. We'll generally use blanks from them. All of our stuff is printed here, but we have a lot of sources where we get our garments and stuff.
Very cool.
So it's all specifically like Portland stuff. They're just outsourced to like from different companies.
Right. Yeah. It's all made here. Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. Maybe our deckinaround apparel will have to go through Portland to represent.
Yeah. Sure.
We'll hook it up. Yeah, why not? We have no other plans than just making gear. So sounds like you guys got that good.
What's the worst that can happen, right?
Yeah, exactly, man.
Exactly.
Worst that happens, Steve and I never have to buy clothes again.
There you go. Well, I feel so fortunate to work for a clothing company because I haven't been to the mall for a year. I don't need.
Dude, nobody's been to the mall in a year.
Tuesday. Very true.
Oh my god. No, but that's definitely. I mean, listen, it's one of those nice little things where you don't realize how much you can save by not having to buy clothes or not having to pay full price for clothes necessarily, whatever it may be. Like. I know with my job, like when we're in the office, like they provide lunch for us, like not having to buy lunch every day is spectacular. Being home now and having to buy all my meals, I'm like, shit, I'm going to go broke.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's crazy.
That's fine.
But, yeah, I hear you.
Let's see if we have any other questions coming on the chat real quick.
Stu said he's still wearing the same clothes he was in last time this year. It's funny.
Stu's a fun one. If you're looking for something to do later tonight, Sean, check out his episode. Courier_Stu, STU.
He's a fucking nut.
He's a good time. He's from Australia.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah. Yeah, we had him on, I want to say, I'm like terrible with when we had people on, but he was on maybe episode 9 or 10.
It was like two or three episodes ago, I think.
Yeah. So he was episode 10. So
yeah, four episodes
absolutely
ago.
A unique individual, but a blast for sure. So
yeah, he's a funny guy.
Yeah,
he's a good dude.
Cool.
So, well, Sean, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on.
Man.
Last night, man, it's been a fun time.
My pleasure. I was telling my girlfriend about this. I love finding people who are not that these people are few and far between, but I love interacting with people who are genuinely good. And I'm not saying you guys you guys are that. You guys are doing this awesome thing for the community, which is interviewing these. I feel so honored to be a part of your interviewees because the people you've interviewed have such a great track record and are doing such amazing things. And I'm honored that you think I'm in that same boat. Like that's really cool. And just that you're using, again, coming back to this wonderful. I sound like it's such a boomer talking about it, but like the internet, you know what I mean? Like it's just I just love that you guys are using it in a creative way that does nothing but adds to the community. So that I can do nothing. I have my full respect for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, appreciate it. I think we're honored to have you on. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like, keep doing what you do. Like you're doing what you do is great. You answer your messages, which is one of the most amazing things to me. But your videos are awesome. They're fun to watch. I would love to see more Magic on there. You know,
I'm planning on it. I think I gotta step that up.
Yeah, because you're so good, and you're just it's natural for you. You know.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's definitely cool to see that, and yeah, get some tutorials up there for us.
Yeah, you know, I might bring back. I gotta bring.
I mean, listen, you blew our mind tonight, and none of us know how it happened, so it's awesome. But
well, apparently, he doesn't know how it happened.
Yeah, so. Exactly.
I blew all three of our minds.
That's how you know it's real magic. If you can't explain it either, it's definitely not a trick. It's real magic. So.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think, again, thank you so much for coming out. It really was a blast. And like you said, you know, the purpose of these is really to make people, you know, realize that we all started from somewhere. We're all people. We're all humans. We all have our desires and our talents and our things we're good at, things we're not good at. And, you know, it's just interesting to see. I really, you know, we had a great time talking about tonight. I love chopping about business and everything. And, dude, I think you've done some phenomenal stuff from such an early age, and being willing to share that really says a lot about you, so we appreciate it.
Well, guys, I know we're gonna stay friends after this, that's again my favorite thing. That's why I get out of bed. So.
Hopefully, we'll be able to meet in person before the next Cardistry Con, but if not, we will definitely be there, because I know Steve and I have been talking about figuring out what we're all going to do with all that. We even, when Cam was on, we talked to him a little bit about potentially meeting up with them on that Cardistry road trip leading to Cardistry Con, so it should be a fun time. But yeah, so I know I promised before we go that we would show the new branding for Deckinaround. So this is going to be popping up over the next couple days on all of our social media, so feel free to check it out. There's also going to be a contest associated with the new branding, so make sure to check it out, everyone. Keep an eye on it. This is the new logo for Deckinaround.
Nice. Oh, that's sick.
Wow. So, and those are actually the prototype version 1 of a deck that Steve is currently working on, that he's been teasing a little bit on Instagram. So I'm super excited for this. We've actually been sitting on this for a few weeks now, trying to work all the logistics out, and we are super excited for it. The guy who built this or made this up, we're going to drop his name in the comments as well, but he did a phenomenal job with this. Yeah. So keep an eye out.
We're going to have a nice contest. So yeah, keep an eye out for the contest. It's going to be a fun one.
Sweet, I'm excited.
Yeah. So Sean, again, thank you so much. Everyone, thank you so much for coming out tonight. I know we had another shift in time. I feel like we're toying with everyone here because last week was off time, mad early. This one's later than usual. So thank you for everyone who made it out tonight. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We have an amazing guest on next week as well, who I almost just forgot to mention, but thankfully I saw Steve's face
wouldn't have
there,
let you.
and I remembered. So next week we are actually going to be having Jackson Robinson on from King's Wild Project. We are absolutely pumped about that. He is an amazing designer. I have no doubt that everyone in the chat right now knows who Jackson is. If you don't, go check out King's Wild Project. He is designing a Robin Hood deck right now, which looks amazing, a Beowulf deck, which looks amazing, and a licensed Lord of the Rings deck, which who the hell doesn't like Lord of the Rings? So check it out, guys. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be probably a 6 hour interview.
We may have to start early again just so that I'm not going to bed at 4 a.m., but we'll see how it goes. So thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the evening. Stay safe, and we will see you next week.
Thank you. Peace.
See you guys.